When it comes to going in the right direction, let's talk about St Helens and the form you're on at the moment. After a bit of a shaky start to this bit of the season, you've been marauding, haven't you? I mean, what's the mood in the camp like at the moment?
It's really good. The mood is really good. Obviously, we're on the back of a winning streak, as you can say. And I think at the start of the year, I think them losses have really pushed us forward and benefited us in ways that we wouldn't expect. So I think having them losses, it's definitely drove our performance and drove the culture around the camp. And I think it's really, really positive going into the weekend. I think everybody is pushing and knowing that we want to win. So I think it's really good.
Well, Leah, a big thank you for joining us. And first things first, big congratulations for making it through to the playoffs. It was quite a dramatic weekend last weekend. One of three teams could have won it, but in the end, York won the League Leaders' Shield. How was last weekend, though, despite that, a fantastic win over Wigan?
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, we all knew that anybody could win it, but I think going into the game, we wasn't thinking about that. We were just thinking about our performance and wanting to beat Wigan and putting a good performance ahead of this weekend and into the semi-finals. So I think it was good for women's rugby league overall and more interest around the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had Leeds on last week ahead of that game with York, and we were talking about what does it say about the competition that at the end of it, the regular season, one of three teams could have won the thing. I mean, that does say quite a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously from last season, I think it's built, and I think there's no more everybody was competitive last year, but I think it's even better that you don't know who's going to win. And I think going into big games between Saints, Leeds, York, I think it's really good because you don't know what the outcome's going to be as a viewer and supporter. So I think it's really good, and the women's game is definitely going in the right direction.
And when it comes to going in the right direction, let's talk about St Helens and the form you're on at the moment. After a bit of a shaky start to this bit of the season, you've been marauding, haven't you? I mean, what's the mood in the camp like at the moment?
It's really good. The mood is really good. Obviously, we're on the back of a winning streak, as you can say. And I think at the start of the year, I think them losses have really pushed us forward and benefited us in ways that we wouldn't expect. So I think having them losses, it's definitely drove our performance and drove the culture around the camp. And I think it's really, really positive going into the weekend. I think everybody is pushing and knowing that we want to win. So I think it's really good.
What are these occasions likely as well? Because obviously you know strangers to these big games. It feels like every other week there's been a big game for St Helens this season. I mean, what's that like as the competition gets better, gets more exposure? I'm imagining the pressure and the tension does ratchet up a bit.
You could say that, but I think obviously, like you said, we have a big game more or less every week at the minute. So I think the pressure gets spread out, and I think we don't put pressure on ourselves. I think we just go there, play our game, try and forget about the environment that we're in, and we're just there to play rugby. And I think if you just forget about all the stuff that's going on around you and just focus on the game, I think that's how you get the best performances out of us.
And one of four teams can win the thing at the end. Obviously, Wigan, who you played last week. I mean, what's your sense on the other three competitors who are involved in getting towards the grand final?
Yeah, obviously we played Wigan last week, and it was a physical game, and I think they've got some good individuals, and I think if they can pull together as a team, I think they can really test York. And I think obviously talking about York, I think obviously they won the League Leaders' Shield, so they're the ones to be chased now. So they are the top of the pack, as you can say. So I think so that will be a good game. And then obviously we will be playing Leeds, and you know what Leeds are like. You know that they fight to the end, and they're a good overall team, and they are the ones that we need to beat.
And you touched upon it before about the winning streak that the club's on at the moment. If we go back to the start of August, you've already played Leeds at Headingley, and it was a close game, wasn't it? But you've beaten them. Is that an advantage? Or I already know the answer to this question, but form does go out the window, doesn't it? Regardless of what's happened in the past.
Yeah, definitely. You can't really say it's an advantage, but obviously they beat us earlier and we beat them. So I think it's who turns up on the day and who wants to win it the most. I think that's what will get the best performances out of us. And so I think it's good playing Leeds at Headingley. I think we enjoy doing that.
And this is all part of a double header live on Sky Sports. It's just brilliant, the level of exposure the women's game's getting at the moment. But this is going to be such a big occasion. I mean, what does it mean, do you feel, for the sport, having this double header on Sky Sports in a big stadium like Headingley, and no doubt in front of a big crowd as well?
Yeah, it's really good. I think Sky Sports are definitely helping the women's game grow. And I think every time that the women's game is on Sky Sports, I think more and more people tune in and watch it. Obviously, this time it'll be 2 women's standalone games, and I think that's really good. And obviously, being a Sunday afternoon, I think more people will be able to watch it. So, yeah, so it's definitely helping the women's game grow and just reach other platforms that it wouldn't before.
And I know the most important thing at the moment is, picking up that piece of silverware at the end of the season. But we've got to remember there's a Women's World Cup as well, just we're weeks away now, aren't we? It's not too far off. I mean, how do you keep a lid on it all? We touched about it earlier, just the fact you've got a big game every other week, but it really has been a cracking season, hasn't it? Really.
Yeah, I think obviously at the minute the focus is on the season and getting to the end of the season and having that goal to win the grand finals. I think focusing on that as St Helens, and then obviously with the few weeks in between the end of the season and the start of the World Cup, I think that's when people's focuses can change. So, but I think at the minute, just get to the end of the season and yeah, get to that grand final, and the goals then change after that.
And what would it mean as well, Leah, just for the great form St Helens have been on of late, but also we have to mention, this season there's already been silverware for the club. Last season there was already silverware for the club. It's quite remarkable what's happening at the club, and just to carry that on. I mean, what would that mean? The potential of picking up yet more silverware this season. I suppose you've got to do it first rather than think about that image of picking up silverware at the end of the year. But still, it would be an amazing feat, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely, it would be amazing. And I think just from the whole hard work of the team and the staff and everyone at Saints, I think that that has to be the goal. And I think that would just be incredible if we could back it up and on our performance from last year and be able to do it again. So yeah, I think it would be really good.
And last question, Leah. Looking forward to this weekend. Like I said, big crowd, a partisan crowd as well. But as we've already touched upon, that you've already faced that this season. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Yeah, I really like playing at Headingley. It's like one of my favourite places to play. So I think as a team, I think it will be a really good day. And yeah, we're really looking forward to it.